Good morning. Got my coffee. I hope you have yours. We're going to need it today. Today we're going to talk about the senses. And I want to talk about the visual senses today. It's going to take several days to talk about the senses because there's a lot to talk about. And I'm only giving myself 6 minutes. So let me begin by saying we experience the world through our senses. And everybody knows that. As a baby's born in the hospital, they begin to notice the world all around them. And the smells, the sight of their mother, touch, the feel of her hands, the sound of her voice. The senses are so important. And when we're talking about interacting with the world, it also shapes the kind of person that we are. Because if you don't get those sensory inputs, it's going to change the way that you react to the sensory inputs that come at you from the world all around you. You're going to react differently. And you end up with sensory overload. But it's my belief that the severity or even the symptoms that you see from a person with autism, it depends on which one of their senses are functioning and which ones are not. That is really important. For me, none of my senses worked. So, nobody was home. I could look at you for 6 hours, 6 minutes, 5 minutes, it didn't matter. As soon as I looked away from you, you were gone. And you'd say, well, what do I look like? Well, you feel like. And I could tell you how you felt, but I couldn't tell you what color your eyes were. I couldn't tell you the color of your hair, what clothes you were wearing. I could only tell you how you felt. Because that is how I perceived the world. That was my sixth sense. And it's all that I had. Now, I'm going to talk at another time about using that feeling sense to feel words and how I did that. But today I want to talk about the visual. As I mentioned, I couldn't tell you what things look like because there was no imprint on my brain. I saw you through my eyes, but my brain didn't make an imprint of what was going in through my eyes. And so, that sounds weird, but it is what it is. I didn't even know what my own children looked like until 2004. And let me tell you, that was the longest plane ride home. I was in San Francisco. I saw the world for the first time. And that plane ride home was the longest I ever, because I couldn't wait to get home and see my children, to really see them with my real eyes. I carried pictures. My daddy had put pictures all over my house so that I would remember I even had the children. And then he gave me pictures to carry with me to remind me. We lived in Highland Park back when they had a police force. This was years ago. Thank God they had a police force because my youngest son was my fourth child, and he was an escape artist in diapers. Let me tell you, I had pictures all around the house, and I would constantly look at the picture, see the face, picture, and always there was one missing. It was my son. Here, I got a picture, no face. I'd call the police. My baby's gone. And they'd say, ma'am, what is he wearing? I don't know, but it matches. And the man would say, ma'am, you don't know what you dressed your child in? No, but I know it matches. What? And thankfully, over time, they knew who I was. And so it got to the point where I could just say, my baby's gone. We're coming. And they they'd come and find him. They always brought him home. He was somewhere between 16 months to 24 months. And, my in-laws had put a fence around my house to keep him in. It wasn't to keep people out. It was to keep that baby in, But thankfully they did that because, he survived. He's still here today. But, it's at the time it was terrifying. I have the pictures to remind me, oh, one's missing. Where is he? Couldn't find him, And this type of thinking continued. And I can't tell you when it stopped. Because in 2009, that was still the way that I thought. No one existed unless they were in front of my face. And that's hard to say. You didn't exist unless you were in front of my face. But that's the reality. And as hard as it is to say, it is what it is. When I grow out of that, I'm hoping to discover on this video journey. So if you'd like to join me on this video journey, just hit the subscribe button. And join me tomorrow for a look at the auditory senses. Well, that's a wrap. Just remember, everyone has a story. And this is just mine.